everyone, and welcome back to Cruising Off Duty.
We have some good news. Now, if you saw the last episode, we had nothing but bad news that our whole sailing season had been canceled according to the Kingston Portsmouth Olympic Harbor in Kingston, which is where we are. They said the marina wouldn't open until the end of August at the earliest, and because of the late start, they're not even going to bother launching the big boats. So we were out of luck, and that was really going to affect the channel.
It was a major bummer for him.
Yeah.
But we're like, oh well, like lots worse things are happening to lots of people, and we're not going to get too upset about that. And we're just going to move on and do other fun stuff. We're going to get the motorcycle fixed and go on rides. We're going to canoe and kayak because there's lots of little rivers around here.
Yeah,
we're going to garden, got that going. And then Friday, I was out all day. Like I was at my brother's babysitting. I didn't get home till like 9 p.m. and we had an email that, all of a sudden they are launching our boats.
June 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Like 10 days notice to say your boat's going to be launched after all. Go get ready. And we're like, we don't live in Kingston. We live like 2.5 hours away. So we're like, oh crap. So we had to run around like Friday night and throw things into bags and
calling my brother,
calling your brother to borrow a truck,
calling his wife, didn't answer phone, call his daughter, finally answered the phone.
Yeah.
So I need to urgently borrow your truck because I have a Nissan Micra. He has a BMW.
And a winter cover comes with huge bars, metal bars, and we've just learned it's easier to borrow his truck than for us to try and jam all this stuff into little cars.
Yeah, so at 10 p.m. I went back to his house, got his truck, came home, packed as much as we could, all the essentials we thought we needed, and took off Saturday morning.
Yeah, so we have some footage we took with just our iPhone. There was so little notice. I didn't have any of my cameras ready, charged, nothing. So we just took our iPhones. Unfortunately, the wind noise with iPhones, you're going to have that ruined by my standards. But nonetheless, at least it shows you how the boat looked. We hadn't even looked at the boat all winter. Still had the winter cover, still filthy underneath.
Please don't judge us for the major shit show in there.
Yeah, just so you know, before we show you this footage, the inside of the boat looks like a hurricane went through and threw everything everywhere. That's the way we are when we're closing down the boat. We're just taking all the mattresses.
We're not looking to make it look nice. We want to get what is essential done and then get out of there.
We throw all the mattresses sort of into the middle, all the cushions, so that they're not touching the walls of the boat, because anybody who's a northern person with a boat, when you winterize it, the walls will sweat. It's so cold outside, but the sun's beating down on the boat, so inside it's hot, but outside it's cold, and the walls will sweat. So if you leave your cushions and stuff on your bed up against the walls, you will have moldy cushions.
And clutter doesn't bother me, but mold is my enemy. So everything is piled up in the middle. Prop up all the cupboard doors. The last couple things I do, at the end of the season, prop up every cupboard door so that there can be some circulation. I have concorobium mold spray. I highly recommend that. It's a mold inhibitor and mold killer. Anywhere that we have ever had a little speck of mold, I spray like crazy, or the kitchen counter and
inside the fridge.
Yeah. And then I get a bunch of $1 jam traps, like a dozen of them, and I put them in every room. He thinks that was not worth doing. He doesn't believe me that that's effective.
Those jam traps are like,
Every single one of them was full.
Yeah, they were full.
I feel like it was $1.25 well spent. And
I think she's just taking humidity out of the normal air.
No, because the boat was sealed. Water's not coming in.
Okay.
So anyway.
We'll agree to disagree.
It smelled fresh as a breeze, and I believe that has something to do with it.
Yeah. So check out that footage now so you can see what we're talking about. Hello.
Hi, we're at the boat after all.
As you can see. Yes, surprise. We found out last night at
like... We were informed late yesterday, and we didn't see the email until bedtime that they are launching us after all.
Yeah, 10 p.m. last night, we get told the boat is going to be launched June 2nd, which is like a week and a half away or less. So we're like, As you can see, our cover's still on.
I've done nothing.
Windy out here, so we got to take the cover off, bring all the batteries on, do all the prep work in this weekend. So good news, but stressful. Let's see what it looks like inside.
Yeah, we're gonna go check it out.
Here we are inside the cover. We noticed a couple of our ribs have fallen out. So that means there's probably a lot of weight of snow
stretched out
on this canvas here, which is a bit stretched. There's our dinghy all dirty. We didn't clean it before we put it on here. Solar panels, that's where we mounted them, or left them during the winter.
We've got a lot of spider buddies.
Spider buddies, yeah.
Oh, spider webs in my face everywhere.
Yeah, but overall, still looks really good. We didn't come even once this winter to come look at the boat, so let's look at what it looks like inside. So far, we don't see any mold.
It doesn't stink, yeah.
It doesn't stink in here, so that's good. Usually, we always worry about that, but it's usually not a problem. Yeah. Excuse the mess. It doesn't smell bad in there, so that's good.
What we hear. No mold. Yay!
Yay! Until when we left, we were kind of in a rush because the stairs aren't on because I was taking the start battery and all
winter happened. And we're just like GTFO.
Yeah.
Too cold.
Too cold to spend a lot of time. So we just sort of threw everything in the boat.
We did the essentials. We left all the doors open. We took everything off the side, away from the sides of the boat, like everything that.
All the cushions are away from the boat, so you don't get the condensation on the cushions.
Opened all the cupboards, sprayed mold, like the anti-mold stuff, where I knew there could possibly be a mold development.
But you say it looks good, smells good.
Smells fresh, yeah.
Smells good. Awesome. That's all we really care.
Yeah, I hate mold.
Yeah, and stinky smells. You don't want stinky smells when you first come on a boat. All right, let's get to it. Usually we're removing the cover way earlier in the season, but COVID pushed things back. This is from a previous year. We're done. Ta-da! Okay, now that we're done the cover, we're taking apart the bars. Janice is cutting up all the little plastic zip ties that hold it to the bottom. And then I'm undoing all the bolts with my power tool. Speedy. We are all done with the masts, or sorry, the ribs. That's a quick process.
Yeah, it's much easier to get them off.
Taking them off takes no thought at all. Just undo and throw. Putting them up, you have to color coordinate them, make sure the right bars are connected to the right bars. It's a lot more work. Okay, as you can see from the footage, the boat was very well. I mean, it's got a winter cover on, and the rain and the snow is pelting down the cover and dirt.
Covers, like some of the bars were collapsed.
Yes, we actually have a dent in our boat because one of the bars collapsed and was, I guess, rubbing
flopping in the wind or whatever.
As the whole cover is shaking in the wind, that bar, which was laying on our boat, was actually sawing away at our boat. So we have a dent now in our gel coat and a dent on one of our metal sliders. So long and short, some damage, but that's always what happens with it. You have to winterize your boat and leave it for 6 months. Is stuff, and then inevitably needs to be repaired afterwards. But nonetheless, we did a ton of work. I'll show you some pictures. We didn't take videos of it. We power washed it. We and the side. We power washed the whole boat, but the sides, the grime was on so deep. We got to get in there with elbow grease and really buff it. That's next week's job. We're going to wash and wax and get the boat ready. But we also got the bimini on. Yeah. The solar panels on. The batteries are perfectly charged. Everything's great. The fridge by the end worked sort of. I think I need to pump up recharge the Freon or whatever they use. It's not Freon anymore, but every year I kind of top that up. The winter, when it's super cold, some of that gas just slowly gets out of it because every spring I find I have to top it up a bit. But yeah, boat was in great shape. Smelled great.
Put all back together. Put the mattresses put things where they belong.
Yeah. I don't think we took a picture of it inside afterwards. Oh well. No. Anyways, the outside looks pretty nice. So next weekend, wash, wax, and we're ready to go. So that means we're going to be able to do videos this summer, thank God, of actual sailing and not motorcycling, which is not really what the channel is necessarily about. But there are restrictions, so we probably aren't going to be able to sail across Lake Ontario and go to the U.S. side, or even across St. Lawrence and go to the U.S. towns that we usually do, which is always fun for us. Yes. But we can't probably because as it stands now, unnecessary travel across the border is not allowed. So us just calling up like we usually do to the U.S. Coast Guard or people and say, hey, we're coming into Clayton, we're going to be here for 2 days. And they go, okay, no problem. Now they're just going to say, why? Do you have a business reason to be here? If not, turn around, go back. So
I want to buy booze.
Yeah, booze is cheaper on the U.S. side. So it's always one perk of going to the U.S. side for a few days is you get to buy some cheap booze.
So but alternatively, we may go to Toronto. Right. There's a nice route to Toronto, like some channels, and there's a canal with a drawbridge or a swing bridge or something. Like some nice stuff to see. And we have been wanting to make that trip. So now it's just a matter of are the Toronto marinas going to be accepting guest boats? If so, great, we'll do it. If not, then we can't do it because there is no good anchoring around the Toronto area. Yeah. It's open to the Lake Ontario. It's very industrial. There's a lot of marinas, and we'll have to get into one, or we can't do that trip.
Lake Ontario, for anybody who doesn't live in the northern United States or Canada, is one of the Great Lakes. It's huge. So when the winds pick up, the waves are quite large. So you don't want to just be anchored out in front of not protected from the wind and the waves from Lake Ontario. And so most times the way the wind would be, Toronto would be on a lee shore. So if we anchored out there, we'd be pounded by waves, and we'd be worried all night that if our anchor gives way, we're going to end up on the shore in Toronto. So yeah, we don't want to do that. So if we can get into a marina in Toronto, we will definitely do that trip this summer. So look forward to that. Assuming it's Canadian and we're coming from one Canadian marina to another Canadian marina, I think they'll be okay with it.
I think so.
We'll see.
So they want business. Like, we're there to spend money.
Yeah, we'll see. So anyways, something to look forward to. The channel is back up and running. Now, the Annapolis Sailboat Show in October is our big viewership time. When we get most of our views is during the Annapolis Sailboat Show. Everybody loves to see our reviews of the different catamarans and how we think they would stack up for a boat we would want to purchase in the future as our new permanent floating home. But that's in the States.
That's happening this year.
Well, that's two things. It's in the States, so if the border crossing rules don't change, we're not allowed to just go to the States for visiting stuff. So if that doesn't change, we can't go. B, even if we were American, if you've been to the Annapolis Sailboat Show, it is a gong show of people. I mean, everybody's just pressed onto the docks, and everybody's waiting in lines to get on each boat to see them. I just don't see how they're going to be able to do that.
No.
And if the scientists are right, these viruses tend to have a second wave.
Yeah.
And the second wave is usually bigger than the first wave. And the second wave will usually probably start in the fall. And October is when the boat show's on.
I expect to be under another more serious lockdown by then.
Yeah. So
my prediction, there will be a major second wave, and we won't be doing a lot at that time.
So the channel's back up and running, but let's just see if our biggest time, which is the Annapolis Sailboat Show, will be up and running. We're doubting it. So good and bad news. All right, so that's our update. Hopefully you're looking forward to seeing the channel back up and running. And
we're happy to be back.
Yes. And we'll catch you on the next one. Ciao.
Bye.